Ladies and gentlemen, Happy New Year. This is the first video. Oh, smack off. Sorry, I'm trying to organise stuff with people and it's tricky with trying to film a video. But yeah, welcome to 2024, everyone. Hope everyone had a good New Year and a good Christmas. Personally, I didn't have a great New Year. It was pretty rough, but we're here and we got through it. And I decided to do something fun for the first video of 2024. Didn't feel like doing another Top Drives Garage tour. I want to try and do more New Zealand specific videos, maybe talk about a bit of the car culture down here, maybe talk about some interesting cars produced by local manufacturers, probably Holden and Ford mostly. Just kind of give you a lot of it, because a lot of you are from America or Europe or Asia, and you don't have, like, you guys have your own unique car culture and, car companies and stuff. And New Zealand and Australia is pretty unique, and it doesn't get shared a lot on YouTube. You see some videos, like the Mighty Car Mod Boys do stuff, but I thought I might do it anyway. But today we're talking about something that's close to my heart. We got top 5 of my most, they're not dream cars, well they are, but the cars that if I had money, oh my god, I need to meet notifications. If someone gave me enough money, I'd be like, yes, these 5 sorted. So let's start. How do you... Okay. Number 5, the Lexus LC 500. This one, personally, for me, would be if you said to me I had to have a GT car, something to go from one end of New Zealand to the other. This would be the car without a doubt. I'd go yes. Main reason, it's such a special, unique car in my opinion. Excuse me. There's not much like it on the New Zealand market, and compared to the other GT cars, it's interesting. I mean, look at the BMW 8 Series. That's the most boring-ass car I've ever seen in my life. You spend 300 grand, because that's how much it is in New Zealand, for the top spec one to compare to this one. It's compared to the similar spec LC. It's not a good car. The inside is extraordinarily similar to an inside of a BMW 3 Series. And the 3 Series starts at 80, 90 grand? So why do you have to pay 200 grand for the same interior? It doesn't make you feel special, whereas this car, both the inside and outside make you feel special. And it comes with a much better engine. It's got a 5-litre naturally aspirated V8. I mean, it sounds incredible. I think it's a 5-litre at least. It sounds awesome. It sounds so good because there's no turbos, there's no stupid rev limiter, there's no stupid top speed limiter. This car can naturally go all the way to top speed. And look at it. I mean, look at this picture. It's not a very good picture, I admit, but still, even in a mundane color like grey, it just looks brilliant. And the best thing about it is you can get it in coupe and convertible. Interestingly, some cars, when they're designed originally to be a coupe, and then the manufacturer does a convertible version, the convertible version looks a bit dodgy, looks a bit weird. This is one of those cars where they've done a brilliant job of making it look just as good as a convertible as a coupe. But yeah, this is my number 5. I would put it, to be honest, I'm going to put a disclaimer. I love all these cars equally. It's just if I had to rank them, I'd have to put them like this. But I would love one of these. This is like if you gave me, number 1 on this list is the car that if you gave me unlimited money, I would buy. This would be the car if you gave me, if I made a good, a decent amount of money, this is the car I'd buy. And then the number 2 car on this list is the car that I'm probably going to end up buying sometime in the future because it's still an affordable and it's still a fun car. At least I think number 2 is that one. Let's go to number 4. Okay, number 4. This is the only non-Japanese car on this list. This was my original dream car. When I actually made up in my mind what you said to me if I had unlimited money, this was it. The 720S McLaren. I actually have this car immortalized as little Hot Wheels. It's wicked. When this car came out, I remember seeing it, and I hadn't really fell in love with McLarens beforehand. I mean, the F1 was cool, and the MP4-12C sounded like a bit of binary code you'd find in some boring textbook. But this, when it came out, the name was simple, and it looks awesome. I think this is one of the best looking British cars ever made. I mean, I like this. When they brought out the 765 LT, I liked it, but to be honest, I wouldn't buy one because it's more money that you don't need to spend on a car that doesn't look that much better. It's a tiny bit faster, but the 720S is probably all the supercar you need. And it's a simple recipe. It's a V8, it's in the right place, it looks good, it's gorgeous, it looks good in pretty much every colour. The only colour I would hate is pink, but that makes sense. It was my original dream car for ages. I still love it now, but it's been neglected quite far down the list, so it is what it is. But I still love this car, and I'd still one day, if I had the opportunity, buy one. Maybe Crash Damaged, who knows? Maybe when the channel grows, I might do Crash Damaged videos and buy a Crash Damaged car. It's an idea I've thought about. There is a Lamborghini Gallardo Crash Damaged on TradeMe at the moment, selling for like 20 grand, which is a lot, but you can get loans for those kind of thing, and I'm like, it's tempting. But the problem is I'm 16, so these are long-term projects. But anyway, yeah, that's number 4. An awesome car. Let's go to number 3. By the way, to give it a while, for some reason it's taking forever to slide between different slides. It will do it, I think. Ooh. Okay. Wait. Yeah, number 3. Sorry, I had to bring up. Number 3 is... pardon me. It probably surprises quite a few. The Audi S4, the B5 generation. This car I also have as a little Hot Wheels as a common theme here. I have the sedan version. They didn't do a wagon, sadly. I just love this car for the fact that it's such an underrated Audi, I feel like. A lot of the Audi RS and S cars, like the original Audi Quattro, which is not really an S car, but stuff like the R8, the S8 from the generation with the big V10, the S6 with the big V10, those cars get a lot of thing on YouTube. Some people say they're brilliant, some people make judgmental videos because obviously the engines blow up. But the S4 is a very nice... This picture, it just looks like an Audi station wagon. The only thing that would draw people's attention is the bright yellow paintwork. I personally would love to have one in this yellow. They are impossible to find in this yellow. They're usually in black, white, or silver, and I think it looks crap in white, to be honest. They're also hard to find as an Avant. They are more popular as sedans. And they're still reasonably priced. There was one recently I saw for 16 grand. That's not a hell of a lot to pay for a piece of Audi's, a really cool Audi sort of sleepery car. Because it looks like a sleeper in this picture. I know it's not the best picture, but the only thing that differs it is the paintwork, and there's a little S4 badge on the front and the rear. But apart from that, you've got no clues to the average person. But yeah, I really would love one of these one day. It's one of the few German cars that I like, if that makes sense. Also, I kind of lied. I said that the McLaren was the only non-Japanese car, but this is also non, so yeah. I just personally love it, and I'd love to own one day. It'd be one of the few non-Japanese cars I'd be comfortable to own. I know they're not very reliable. I've seen a lot stick because of the engines go, the turbos go, but I don't know. German cars are weird. They're either really unreliable or they're solid as a rock. I think it depends on generation. But anyway, next slide. Number 3 was awesome. Number 2. Number 2 is actually shared by 2 different cars. The Lexus ISF, which is the bottom one in silver, and the Lexus GSF, which is the top one in blue. Okay, this is tricky. The ISF is the car that I spoke about that I'm going to own one day. It is my life goal to at least own one once. They are incredibly underrated. A bit of a sleeper because they kind of look ordinary. It's a Lexus, which means people don't really go, oh, it's sporty. People just think it's a car for middle management people, and kind of is. I mean, my dad may or may not be purchasing one soonish. I don't know. He's trying to make his mind up. And I think it's better than the M3 of its generation, which is a bit of a controversial statement. A lot of people will disagree with me, but I personally think the M3 is too overrated of a car. Jeremy Clarkson did a road test of the GSF, which is not the same as the ISF, but it's got the same engine, same gearbox, same thing. It's just a much newer and bigger car. And it was meant to be an M5 competitor. And the GSF, I'll admit, isn't an M5 competitor. It's nowhere near as quick. It does 0 to 60 in 4.5, whereas the M5 does it in like 3 seconds dead, I think. But it doesn't have any turbos. So it's a naturally aspirated V8. So I think it's the same engine in the LC. So all 3 of these cars share the same engine. The IS, the LC, and the GSF. All share the same engine. But he said it was more fun to drive. It wouldn't have been better, he said, to live with day to day, which is interesting for a Lexus. He said it was more fun to drive, though, because there's no rev limiter, there's no top speed limiter, it does 171, I believe. There's no turbos getting in the way of that epic engine. And it screams to the high heavens, and you can do fat burnouts, and one thing, you can turn the traction control all the way off, which you can't do in the M5. And it will be much more reliable than M5. M5s of this generation, all M5s, I think, are at least somewhat unreliable. It's a Lexus. There's somehow more... It is a common car joke in the community that Lexus is somehow more reliable than Toyota, and yet they're the same car. But yeah, the problem with the GSF is it's expensive. It's a newer car, and in New Zealand especially, they didn't sell any of them. No one bought them. There's currently 3 on Trade Me. They are all 100 grand. So for that reason, I wouldn't buy one because the ISF exists. The ISF is the same engine in a smaller car, so it'll be lighter, so it'll be faster. Same gearbox. I personally think it looks a bit better, and they are much cheaper. You can pick an ISF, sorry, I'm struggling to speak, up for between 20 to 30 to sometimes 40 and even 50 grand. So that range, which is much cheaper than M3 of the same generation. And it will go further and last longer. And sound so much better. This is one of those cars where you don't actually really need to mod. It kind of comes perfect from the factory, in my opinion. I wouldn't do anything to an ISF if I bought one. But yeah, I feel like they share this. I decided to put them at the same spot because even though I like the ISF more, the GSF is not. It's not as good as my opinion, but it's pretty damn close. I think the GSF is for an older person who still wants to have a little bit of fun, and the ISF now would be bought by someone who's a bit younger like me, maybe 30s, 40s before you've had children properly set in. And to be fair, the best thing about the ISF is if you bought it when you didn't have children, you got a bit more money to throw around, and then you have children, it's not a car you'd have to get rid of. It's still got 4 doors, it's still got 4 seats, probably 5, a boot big enough to accommodate everything. You could still use this on the school run, and you'd look like you'd be such a cool parent if you had one of these on the school run. That's number 2. So what's my number 1? Well, we're going to find out in a minute. Drumroll, bum. Now, if you know me well, or you follow the channel, or you follow the Instagram page, link in the description, or no, at the bottom, the link in the description doesn't work for the Instagram page, so just go search it on Instagram. It's Yogurt Players, and it should come up with a little yogurt icon. He's got sunglasses and a hat on, and a drink in his hat. Yeah, trying to get to 100 followers this year. It's not a big goal, but I just want to set little goals. Little goals are probably better than big goals because they're more achievable. But yeah, number 1 is probably, in my opinion, and I will dispute this until the day I die, the best car to ever be made ever. And that is, if it swipes, the Lexus LFA. In my opinion, there is no better automobile that has ever been crafted or made or produced in any numbers ever. My dad likes Ferrari F40. He says that's his favourite car. And we have arguments all the time. Because the F40 it's cool. But the problem with the F40 I find is it's a $40 million car. At least in New Zealand, right? If you bought one in New Zealand, $40 million. Now the LFA is not cheap. It's $1 million to $2 million car, right? Because obviously they're legendary. But to be honest, in the supercar and hypercar world, that's still pretty cheap. Most of them are a lot of money. And lots of legendary cars. I mean, the Porsche Carrera GT. What's that, like $5 million in New Zealand? That's a lot, right? The LFA is a lot cheaper in that respect. But the best thing is it's a supercar that won't break because it's a Lexus, obviously, which, is the... But my personal thing, this car I don't think I would love if it wasn't for what lurks under that bonnet. The V10 that goes in the LFA and the noise it makes is quite possibly the best sound that any form of machine, human life form makes on this earth. To me, every time I hear it, it makes goosebumps go run all over my body because it sounds so incredibly godly good. That's not a word, but I'm doing it anyway. The thing that sealed the deal for me was when Jeremy Clarkson drove it on an episode where they were driving across America, and James May had an Aston Martin Vanquish, which I also quite like those. Harry had a Dodge Viper, which I don't really care about, and Jeremy had a yellow LFA. And it gets towards the end of the episode, and he's on that highway, and he says the lines of, he says the key things that have stuck with me ever since, which is, it's the best car I've ever driven. And when those words left his mouth, it clicked for me, because it was like, but he's driven every single car, pretty much, that's ever been made, or at least a lot of them, right? A vast majority. He's driven so many cars. How good of a car must the LFA be for Jeremy Clarkson, who was widely regarded as one of the best automotive journalists of all time, to turn around and say it's the best car he's ever driven? he still holds that. He still thinks, despite that being years ago, almost a decade ago, I think, he still thinks it is the best car he's ever driven. That is very high praise, and for that reason, it is my favorite car of all time. They're doing a Hot Wheels of this car, actually. I think it's a Hot Wheels Premium or Matchbox Premium. I think it's Matchbox. And I pre-ordered it before Christmas, so it was in November it came out as a pre-order, and I pre-ordered it, and it should come at the end of January. I can't wait because it's going to be so cool, because they haven't done an ISF or a GSF Hot Wheels or Matchbox, but they've done an S4, so I'm going to have the S4, the McLaren 720S, and the LFA as Matchbox and Hot Wheels. That's going to be so cool. But yeah, I'll probably never own an LFA in my lifetime. Probably not. Unless they get chronically devalued for some reason. But to me, it will always be a Halo. It will always be my bedroom poster wall car. It will always be a car I will always aspire to own. And there's only one in New Zealand. It lives up in Auckland with a man. And for me, just seeing one in real life and being able to touch it would be epic. Like, we're talking the coolest thing ever. If I got to sit in it, it would be even cooler. If I got to drive one, oh my god, I would have such a fanboy moment. But yeah, to me, this is the best a car can be, in my opinion, and I think the best it will ever be. I mean, the words of Jeremy Clarkson again, because he's such a good writer, he said again in another section about the LFA, that he said, they were talking about, I think, what was it? What car was it? It was the RCF, which I don't like, to be honest. I think it's a bit too fat. And he was talking about maybe they could have captured some of the essence of the LFA in the RCF. And he was like, oh, maybe they couldn't, because maybe the LFA is so good, not even the people who made it know how to make it again. And people said, oh, that's a bad thing. No, it's not. It means the car is literally so good that the people who designed and built it have no idea how it was that good, how they can do it again. And it makes it truly one of a kind, in my opinion. Anyway, I've just waffled on for like 17 minutes, so if you stuck with me, thank you very much. Yeah, I'll see you in another video soon. I've got some more content planned. Yeah, hope you all had a good new year, and I will see you next time. Ciao.